All right, let's dive into one of the biggest questions we all face. What is the point of suffering? And this isn't just about how to get through tough times. We're going to try and completely reframe it, to shift our perspective. What if hardship isn't some kind of cosmic mistake, but actually a profound expression of divine love?
I mean, this is the paradox that everyone wonders about, right? You see good people, people who really try to do the right thing, and they get hit with the hardest tests, illness, loss, you name it. It just doesn't seem to add up. So if we believe in a universe that is fundamentally just and merciful, what is the deeper wisdom here? What's really going on? Okay, so to start to unpack this, we first have to challenge a major assumption we all have. We're all conditioned to think that a life of constant comfort is the goal. But what if that's not the case? What if a life with no challenges is actually a hidden danger, like a spiritual sleeping pill that just numbs us to what's really important? Now, this is where it gets fascinating, because this verse completely flips our idea of mercy on its head. It suggests that taking away all the difficulty, creating a totally smooth, friction-free life, could actually make us careless. It's like without those obstacles to keep us sharp and aware, we just lose our way and end up wandering completely lost.
And this isn't just some ancient wisdom. You see it play out all the time. A life without any challenges can create this deep existential vacuum. When you can get whatever you want, whenever you want it, the soul doesn't find peace. No, instead, it starts this frantic search for the next thing, a bigger thrill, which, as we know, often leads down some pretty destructive paths.
And this is a perfect illustration of that dynamic. You know, when our normal desires are always met, this insatiable part of us starts chasing more and more extreme things. We see it with people who have all the money in the world. They're not just eating for hunger, they're eating bizarre things for the shock value. Or this pursuit of pleasure that gets so disconnected from any real meaning that it just leads to emptiness. That's not a picture of a happy person, it's the picture of a soul that's lost its way in a world with no guardrails.
So, if a life of constant ease is actually a trap, then we can start to see hardship in a completely new light. And this brings us to the core idea here. A trial isn't proof that you've been abandoned by God. It's the exact opposite. It's a profound and, yeah, often painful sign of divine love, a sign of active intervention in your life. So you really have two ways of looking at this. From the worldly point of view, hardship is just bad. It's a curse, a punishment, a sign you failed. Simple as that. But from a divine perspective, the entire story changes. Suddenly, sickness, loss, and failure aren't just random tragedies. They become tools for cleansing your soul, a shield to protect you from your own ego, and a ladder for you to climb higher spiritually. The spiritual mechanism for this is a beautiful concept called kafara, and the core idea is just so full of mercy. It means that no pain you experience is ever wasted, not one bit. Every moment of stress, every little ache, every setback, all the way down to something as small as the prick of a thorn is an opportunity. It's God's way of gently erasing our mistakes, purifying us one small trial at a time. So, what's the end result of all this? Well, imagine this. You arrive on the day of judgment, and you find out your account has already been settled. All those struggles you went through in life, the money problems, the health issues, the heartbreaks, they were all payments that wiped your slate clean. So clean, in fact, that you get to bypass the whole accounting process and go straight to paradise. From that perspective, suffering wasn't a detour from the path. It was the path. Okay, so understanding the why is a great start. That's the intellectual piece. But what do you do when you're in the middle of it? When the pain is real and overwhelming? Well, the spiritual traditions give us a clear, practical roadmap for exactly that. It's a kind of discipline for the heart. It really breaks down into 4 steps. First, you flip the question. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You look inside and ask, what is this trying to teach me or purify in me? Second, you practice what's called husnozan, which means you actively choose to think the best of God, to trust that there's a loving wisdom at work. Third, you surrender. You let go of your own plans. And finally, you embrace this incredible state of sabar, or patience. And that second step, thinking the best of God, is fueled by this powerful idea right here. It basically says that your experience of God is shaped by how you think of Him. If you're going through a hard time and you see God as angry and punishing, well, that's what your reality is going to feel like. But if you choose, even through your tears, to see Him as wise and merciful, you literally open the door for that wisdom and mercy to flow into your life.
This totally changes how we think about prayer during a trial. It's not a negotiation. It's not us handing God our list of demands. Real prayer in that moment is the ultimate act of humility. It's your soul declaring, look, I have my own hopes and dreams, but I submit to your plan because I know it's better and bigger than anything I can imagine. It's the highest form of trust. So we've looked at the purpose of trials, and we've talked about a roadmap for navigating them. But what about the outcome? What is the actual reward for holding on with a steady heart?
And this brings us right back to sabr, to patience. What is so amazing about patience is that it's the most accessible form of worship there is. It doesn't cost any money, you don't have to be physically strong, you don't need to be a scholar. All it requires is a heart that decides to stay steady in the storm. It's a quiet, internal, but unbelievably powerful act. And for this quiet act of worship, what's the reward? Well, the answer is a phrase that's hard to translate. Bihayri hisab. It means without measure, without limit, beyond any calculation. See, other good deeds might have a set reward, like 10 times or 700 times, but the reward for patience is infinite. It's just poured out in a way we can't even comprehend. But believe it or not, there's a reward that's even greater than an unlimited paradise. And that's God's pleasure itself, Rida. The tradition describes people in paradise who have everything they could ever want, but they still feel there's something more. And when they ask what could possibly be greater, the answer comes, my pleasure. And this ultimate state, this ultimate prize, is for those who were content with God's plan for them back in the world, even when it was painful.
And so, this brings us full circle. If we can make this radical shift, if we can see our difficulties not as random, meaningless pain, but as a direct, personal call from the divine, a call that's meant to purify us, to protect us, and to elevate us, then the question we have to ask ourselves is no longer, why me? The real question becomes, how will I answer that call?